Once again, welcome dear students. Myself Geeta Kadam, and today we are going to learn about the third chapter in history, that is effects of British rule. In this chapter, we are going to study the effects of British rule over India. So, let us see the chapter. In this chapter, we will see the following points. First, establishment of East India Company. Second, British and the Marathas. Third, subsidiary alliance system. And fourth one is effects of British rule on India. So let us start with the first point, establishment of East India Company. The first point is establishment of East India Company. As we saw, due to the geographical discoveries, the European powers reached the Indian coast. All the Europeans, including Portuguese, Dutch, French, and British, they entered the race for capturing the Indian market. We saw that Portugal and Spain, they become forefront in the competition for new territories. Forefront means they are in leading position for capturing the new territories. Okay, Portugal and the Spain, they become leading position for capturing the new territories, and following to them, England, French, Germany, they also quickly began their own empire building over the seas. See students, when the British came to India for trade purpose, the Portuguese had already settled here because they came at first in our India, and they gave a bitter resistance to the Britishers. Means Portuguese at first opposed the Britishers, but later a friendly relations developed between them, between the Portuguese and the Britishers. And to establish the domination over the India, firstly British had to face the opposition from French and Dutch, these types of European powers. Beside that, they also faced the opposition from some of the local rulers, means some of the Indian rulers. Like in the last lesson, we saw that Sirajuddaulah, the Nawab of Bengal, Shujauddaulah, the Nawab of Ayodhya, Emperor of India Shah Alam, then Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan. Okay, like that, the other Indian rulers, they also opposed the Britishers at first. But still, Britishers got the success to expansion of their power in India. The second point is British and Marathas. Students, earlier we saw that how the Britishers established their empire in Bengal at first, and later Britishers captured Mysore and then Punjab territory. And now Britishers moved towards Maratha territory. Students, during that time Marathas were important strong rulers in India. And now Britishers want to capture the Maratha territory. And during 1774 to 1818, three wars were fought between the Marathas and the British. Let us see how it was happened. The first Anglo-Maratha War. Students, Mumbai was the main center of British. Mumbai, earlier name of Mumbai was Bombay. Bombay was the main center of British in Western India, and they were trying to acquire the nearby territories. Acquired means captured. Britishers want to capture the nearby territories of Bombay. but the Marathas had strong hold over it. After the death of Peshwa Madhavrao, his uncle Raghunath Rao approached for the help from the British due to his greed for Peshwaship. Means Raghunath Rao, the uncle of Madhavrao, in his greed for the seat of Peshwa, the throne of Peshwa, for that, to fulfill his desire, he asked the British for the help. Okay, Raghunath Rao took the help from the Britishers. Thus, British entered the Maratha politics. This was opposed by the Marathas. The Maratha Sardars opposed that, and consequently a war took place between the both of the sides. And during the first Anglo-Maratha War, Marathas unitedly faced the British and hence proved their superior. And in 1782, with the Treaty of Salbai, the first Anglo-Maratha War came to an end. Before go to the second Anglo-Maratha War, let us see about the subsidiary alliance system. Students, in 1798 AD, Lord Wellesley, he arrived in India as a Governor General, and his objective was to establish the British dominion all over the India. Dominion means control. He wanted to control all over the India. Means it was his policy to bring the whole India under the British rule. Now, for this, he signed the subsidiary alliance with many of the Indian rulers. And according to this alliance, the Indian rulers were assured of British military help. So, what is this system? Which are the terms of the systems? Let us see. The first term is the Indian rulers have to maintain the British army in their court and have to pay cash or part of their territory to the company for its maintenance. Means Indian rulers pay the money or give some of the territory, part of the territory to the British East India Company for the maintenance of the army or maintenance of the British military. And the second term is the Indian rulers who joined the subsidiary alliance. They would not have any alliance with any other power or declared war against any power without the intervention of the British. Means the Indian rulers could have political relations with other powers only through the mediation of the British. Now the third term is the rulers would accept a British residence in his state. Means Indian rulers had to maintain a British resident, means a British political agent at their court. Means those Indian rulers want to accept or want to sign the subsidiary alliance system, they should follow these terms. Some of the Indian rulers, they accepted the system, and that's why they lost their freedom. Now let us move towards the second and third Anglo-Maratha wars. See students, in the year 1802, Bajirao II, he also signed the subsidiary alliance treaty with the British. And this alliance is well known as the Treaty of Vasai. Here, But this treaty was not acceptable to some of the Maratha Sardars. They were opposed because though they knew the politics of the Britishers, and this treaty was not acceptable to them. This led to the Second Anglo-Maratha War. Here, in this battle, unfortunately Maratha defeated, and after the victory of the British, there was increased interference of British into the Maratha state or into the Maratha politics. Now this become intolerable. Now it should not be intolerable means it should not be acceptable. Now Bajirao II, Peshwa Bajirao II realized his mistake to make the Treaty of Vassy with the British. And now he wanted to free himself from the yoke of the British. Means now Peshwa Bajirao II, he himself want to free from the slavery of the British. And he started to organize the other Maratha chiefs to wage the war against the British. And here the Third Anglo-Maratha War was happened in the year 1817. But Bajirao II defeated in the Third Anglo-Maratha War, and at last in the year 1818 he surrendered to the British. Now, meantime, the capital of Mughals was under the control of Daulat Rao Shinde, the Maratha Sardar. And here, by defeating the troop of Shinde, General Lake, British officer General Lake, he captured the Mughal emperor and finally gained the victory over Hindustan. Means now the entire India came under the British. Students, we saw that how the Peshwa Bajirao II surrendered in front of the British and Britishers captured the Maratha territory. Although the Peshwaship came to an end, but Chhatrapati Pratap Singh of Satara was still ruling. Britishers signed a treaty with Chhatrapati Pratap Singh and appointed Grant Duff as an officer to assist him, means to assist Chhatrapati Pratap Singh in the state affairs. But later, the Chhatrapati was dethroned. Dethroned means removed from the position. Britishers removed Chhatrapati Pratap Singh from the position and exiled to Kashi. Exile means shifted him to Kashi. And he died there in the year 1847. After the death of Chhatrapati Pratap Singh, Rango Bapuji Gupte, he was a loyal officer of Chhatrapati Pratap Singh. He fought the legal battle against the Britishers. He went up to England for the justice, but his efforts were unsuccessful. Later, Lord Dalhousie rejected the adoption policy, and in 1848 the state of Satara came under the British control. Now, students, do you know the work of Chhatrapati Pratap Singh? Let us see. Chhatrapati Pratap Singh made a provision of water to the city by building a water tank on the backside of Yevteshwar temple and Mahadara in Satara. He also built a roads in the city. Trees were planted on both sides of the road. Schools were built for boys and girls for teaching Sanskrit, Marathi and English. And in 1827, Sabhaniti, a book on polity, was printed. He built road from Satara to Mahabaleshwar to Pratapgarh. Like that, he done the work for the welfare of the people. The next point is dual government. See students, we saw that Britishers establish their empire or their power in Bengal at first. After capturing the Bengal, now Britishers were start to rule on it. How? See, Robert Clive, the British officer, he introduced the dual government system in Bengal in the year 1765. Okay, dual government means a double government. Okay, what is the meaning of dual government? See, here the company means British East India Company undertook the work of revenue collection means collection of taxes. Whereas the Nawab of Bengal had to maintain the law and order. Okay, means at a time British East India Company and the Nawab of Bengal both were governing in Bengal. So this was known as dual government system. Now students, the ill effect of the dual government system could be seen after a certain period. Money in the form of taxes now went into the pocket of the company officers. Means the East India Company's officers, whatever the money they collected as a form of tax, they kept in their own pocket. And the monopoly of trade in India was given to the East India Company by the British Parliament. Okay, the British Parliament given monopoly of their trade in India to the East India Company. And because of that, many trading companies in England, they envied them. Envied means feeling of hatred. Okay, many trading companies, they oppose or they feel like hatred to the East India Company because they got the monopoly of trade in India. And the working system of that company in India received criticism in England because of their corruption. Okay, and because of that, at last, British Parliament introduced some important laws to keep control over the company. Okay, British Parliament introduced some of the laws to keep control over the British East India Company in India. So, which were the laws? Let us see. Parliamentary laws. First one is Regulation Act of 1773. According to the Regulation Act of 1773, the Bengal governor came to be known as Governor General. Means a new post, that is Governor General, came into exist. Now, according to this act, Lord Warren Hastings, he became the Governor General of India and he got the right to control the policies of Mumbai and Madras provinces. Students, we knew that Mumbai and Madras too were the provinces under the British rule. So, Lord Warren Hastings, he got the right to control the policies of that provinces. And a committee of 4 members was also set up to assist him, means to help him. Now second one is Pitt's India Act. In the year 1784, Pitt's India Act was passed. And the act provided for appointment of the Permanent Board of Control for better regulation and management of affairs of the East India Company in India. Means to control the work of East India Company in India, the Permanent Board of Control was appointed. Now, beside that, in the year 1813, 1833 and 1853, new laws were also passed by the Parliament, England Parliament, to make certain changes in the working of the company. So, like that way, East India to control East India Company's administration in India, British Parliament made some laws. Students, we saw in the year 1813, 1833 and 1853, the new laws were passed by the Parliament to make a certain changes in the working of the company, means working of the East India Company, or to control the East India Company. And these acts were known as Charter Acts. So let us see about that acts. First one is Charter Act of 1813. Students, as per the Charter Act of 1813, the monopoly of East India Company taken away and Indian trade was open to all British traders. And beside that, as per this act, British compelled to spend 1 lakh rupees annually for the development of education in India. Now the second one is Charter Act of 1833. As per this act, the Charter Act of 1833 centralized the administration in India, and the Governor General of Bengal, now known as the Governor General of India. Students, earlier we saw that in the Act of 1773, the Regulation Act of 1773, the Governor of Bengal known as a Governor General. And here, as per the Act of 1833, the Governor General of Bengal, now known as the Governor General of India. And that time, Lord William Bentinck was appointed as a Governor General of India. Now the third one is Charter Act of 1853. This was the last Charter Act, and this act passed for East India Company, which indicated the rule of company in India could not last long. And it also reduced the number of directors of East India Company from 24 to 18. So, with the emergence of British rule, a new administration system was also got developed in India. So about that we have to see in the next video. Thank you.